Your midlife body isn't breaking down, it's breaking open. The art of wabi-sabi. I booked Japan after decades of wanting it, of putting it on my someday list, the when things settle down list. When I finally have time for it list, I booked it. Tokyo, Okinawa, Kyoto, Osaka. And what I want to tell you is the moment I booked the trip, something shifted in me. Not just excitement, something quieter, something that feels a lot like it's about time. I've been doing a lot of reading about Japan in preparation for the trip. The culture, the philosophy, the way they move through the world. And I came across a concept that I have not been able to stop thinking about. It's called wabi-sabi. And I think it might be the most important thing no one is telling midlife women. Welcome to the Midlife Reset. And today we're going to talk about beauty, the kind that only comes with time. Wabi-sabi is a Japanese philosophy, an entire way of seeing the world, built on the belief that there is something profoundly beautiful in imperfection, impermanence, and incompleteness. It's like the worn wooden step at the entrance of an ancient temple, an asymmetrical bowl when the glaze cracks in a certain way and it's fired anyway. The way a garden looks and how beautiful it is in the autumn when the leaves are starting to fall. And it's not in full bloom, but nonetheless, it is absolutely beautiful. Wabi-sabi says the mark of time is not a flaw. It's the whole point. Now, to be clear about something, I do not want to be 30 again. I really don't. Do you remember 30? The angst, the distraction, the amount of energy that you spent on things that turned to be completely irrelevant? My cortisol was through the roof, and I didn't even have a good reason for it. I was stressed about things I can't even remember now, which tells you everything. The point is, we've been sold a story that the goal of midlife is to get back to something, to look like we haven't lived, to undo the evidence of time, to be tight, smooth, lifted, restored, renewed, anti-aging. Anti-aging as if aging were the enemy. We've been handed a story that the body that has carried us through everything, the grief, the joy, the late nights, the early mornings, the decades of showing up, is something that needs to be corrected. Wabi-sabi says the opposite. The evidence of your life is the most beautiful thing about you. Here's what wabi-sabi is not. It's not resignation. It's not sitting back and deciding to do nothing because, nothing matters, so why bother? Wabi-sabi is practice of attention, of choosing to look at yourself, your body, your life, this season with different eyes. Eyes that find the beauty in the real rather than chasing the illusion of the untouched. And that practice, that is an act of radical self-respect. Your body is not broken. I want to talk about the body specifically because this is where I see women suffer most in midlife. Not just physically, but in this story that they tell themselves about what's happening physically. Over the years, through my clinical pharmacy work and decades of teaching Argentine tango, I've spoken with hundreds of women navigating this season. And the one Most consistent thing I hear is some version of this. My body is betraying me. Sleep changes, energy changes, weight redistributes. The body you knew, the one that you had a deal with, starts operating outside of that agreement. And the instinct is to fight it, to get back to what it was, to fix it. But here's what I know as a clinical pharmacist and someone who has spent years watching women move through this. The body is not betraying you. It's transitioning. There's a difference. Betrayal is malicious. Transition is biological. And when we frame what happens as betrayal, we go to war with ourselves. And the war costs us energy, more energy than the transition ever will. Wabi-Sabi offers a different framework. This body has been places. It's carried grief and joy and decades of showing up. The changes you see are not damage, they're history. Your body's not broken, it's seasoned, and seasoned in the wabi-sabi sense. It is the most interesting thing a body can be. I want to talk a little bit about movement as the practice of wabi-sabi. And this is where most wabi-sabi conversations don't go, because wabi-sabi tends to stay in the philosophical, the contemplative, and a little still. I want to talk about movement. Wabi-sabi is not just how you see yourself. It's about how you move through the world. I teach Argentine tango, and if you've never danced tango, there's something I want to share about it. It cannot be perfect. It's improvisational in real time between two people, each with their own weight, their own history, their own way of moving their bodies. You can't choreograph it. You can only respond. And every tango dancer eventually learns this. The most beautiful movements and moments in the dance are not polished sequences. They're the unexpected ones that happen. That slight lean that turns into a turn. The pause that neither party planned but felt. The moment, the real connection that only happens between both people when they are present enough to find it. That is wabi-sabi in motion. Your body in midlife works exactly the same. It's improvising. It's responding in real time to everything that you've lived and everything you're living in now. And the invitation, the wabi-sabi invitation, is to move with it rather than against it. When estrogen levels shift in perimenopause and menopause, your stress response becomes more reactive, basically more sensitive. Cortisol, the main stress hormone, can run higher for longer than your nervous system, without the calming effect of estrogen, is exposed more than it used to be. And movement is one of the most powerful regulators of that system available to you. When you move your body with intention, and it doesn't have to be dancing, that's my preferred, but it can be walking in nature, yoga, swimming, whatever calls to you. You bring your cortisol level down. Your brain literally grows new connections. Just think of it as all these new superhighways are being created in your brain. And that happens at any age. You activate the rest and restore response with movement. And that tells you in your body at the cellular level, you're safe, you're capable, and you're still in this. This is not a metaphor. This is body information. This is, you can call it biology, you can call it physiology. This is what's happening. And here is the wabi-sabi piece. The movement doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be what it used to be. A walk at a different pace than 10 years ago still counts. A dance class where you're the oldest one in the room still counts. Yoga in your living room at 6 a.m. in the morning in yesterday's clothes absolutely counts. The practice is the practice. The imperfect, consistent, showing up anyway practice. Because I've watched what happens to women who commit to moving forward through midlife rather than retreating from it. They change how they're perceived, not just how they feel internally, but how the world sees them. The way you carry your body is the first thing the world reads about you before you speak, before the title, the experience, the credentials. Your physical presence communicates your vitality, your confidence, your capability. Movement in midlife is not vanity, it's strategy, and it is the most active practice of wabi-sabi available to you. I keep coming back to Okinawa, one of the original blue zones, as I'm thinking about it, a place where people live past 100 in their bodies, with their minds intact and attached to communities. And the research has studied why, in particular, in Okinawan culture, what about it produces this longevity? And the answers are not what we would expect. It's not a supplement stack. It's not a 5 a.m. routine. It's not tracking macros. Diet's important, yes, but that's not all of it. It's movement woven into daily life. Food that is real and eaten slowly and shared. Community that is a group of people who commit to each other for another life. And a sense of purpose. A real reason to get up in the morning. That is wabi-sabi as a way of life. Not perfect, not always optimized, deep, substantially alive. And I'll bring more into this after I return back from Japan, but I wanted to at least plant the seed because I think we're about to see a lot of what that culture can teach us about midlife. It is not the end of vitality. It's the beginning of a different kind. Now, let me put on my pharmacist hat for a second. Something you can do this week. I promise it is worth it. You will not believe how much of a difference it makes, but try it out. I call it the Wabi-Sabi scan, actually the Wabi-Sabi body scan. And it's not a meditation exactly. It's more of a reframe. At some point over the next few days, maybe after you've had a shower, maybe in a quiet moment, I want you to look at your body. And you can do this with clothes on, clothes off. It's not to assess it, not to catalog what needs fixing, but with different eyes. And ask yourself, what has this body done? What has it carried? Where has it been? The hands, maybe, that have helped people you love. The legs that have gotten you where you needed to go. The body that kept showing up even when you were exhausted, grieving, uncertain, and afraid. And then, this is the wabi-sabi part. Find one thing, just one, something you've been seeing as a flaw, and try genuinely to see that as a mark of history instead. For me, it was my C-section scar. It's not toxic positivity. You're not pretending, just a different question. What if this isn't damage? What if this is evidence of life? And you don't have to love everything about your body today. Wabi-sabi doesn't ask that. It just asks to look with a little more honesty and a little more grace. Yeah, I'm going to Japan. And I'm going with this question already alive in me. What does it look like to be a woman in midlife who has made peace with the body she's in, who moves through the world not despite her history, but because of it? Now, I don't have all of the answers yet, but I think Wabi-Sabi is pointing at something true. The cracks are not the problem. They are the story. And the story, your story, is worth seeing clearly. If this episode landed for you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And come find me. I'm Diana Debbie. See you next time. Bye for now.